What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ben on Sports. And I know I slacked on the NBA content this year. Part of it, as you guys know, I went on a small hiatus, and the other part of it was because I was mad at the NBA. There's a lot of, I want to love the NBA, but there's a lot of things I do not appreciate that they're doing this year. A lot of things that I'm kind of sick and tired about happening in the NBA. But I still watch this year. I'm still going to watch the playoffs, and I figured my grudge was not important enough. My grudges were not important enough to not do an NBA play-in and playoff prediction. And that's what I have for you guys today. NBA play-in season is here Tuesday. I figured this episode can celebrate the play-in tournament. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe, the rest of the week, and then the playoffs will start. So without further ado, let's get into it. Same thing as last year. I don't know. Maybe people don't understand how the play-in process works. Maybe people are new to the NBA or they don't pay close enough attention. On the screen, you have a very well thought out and uh, explanation for how it works. But I'll try and wrap this up quicker. In the NBA, the teams get rated 1 through 16 in each conference. Historically, it's just been the top 8 that makes the playoffs, or at least in recent history. Recently, the NBA put in a play-in. So, the 7 seed and the 8 seed play each other in the play-in, and the winner becomes the 7 seed. The 9 and the 10 seeds play each other. The loser becomes eliminated, and the winner of the 9 and 10 and the loser of the 7 and 8 play each other, and the winner becomes the 8 seed, and the loser is also eliminated. So theoretically, if you're seeded in theory, the 7 seed could miss the playoffs and the 10 seed could make the playoffs due to the play-in. Isn't that interesting? The matchups this year in the Eastern Conference: 7 seed Magic, 8 seed 76ers, 9 seed Hornets, 10 seed Heat. In the West, it's 7 seed Suns and 8 seed Blazers, 9 seed Clippers, 10 seed Warriors, and that will make up the play-in rounds that take place at the beginning of the week. So, let me go and talk about this play-in. Here you go. I know it's kind of spoiling, but on the right, you see I have the 7 versus 8, the Magic and the Sixers. On the left, I have the Hornets and the Heat, and then I have the rest of the Eastern Conference playoff bracket here. The winner of the Magic and Sixers goes on to play the Celtics. The winner of the other game, will go to play the Pistons, the 1 seed. First, let me talk about this 7-8 game. The Magic and Sixers, I think the Magic are one of the best, maybe the best defensive team in all of the NBA. They are incredibly hot right now. I still think they lack elite shot making. I think they lack an elite shot making guard that can create off the dribble for themselves. They have some good bigs. They have some good wings. And like I said, they're very good defensively. The Sixers are going to be missing their main player in Joel Embiid, but they have a lot of other pieces. They still have the elite shot making from guys like Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. They have EJ Edgecombe, right? The Sixers have a lot of pieces. Even without Joel Embiid, I think it's a low-scoring game, but I think the 76ers are going to be able to score enough, create enough to get the win against the Magic. The Heat and the Hornets came on strong the second half of the year to the point where they even added pieces. I love the trade for Kobe White. They have Knipple, who might be the best rookie in the NBA this season, the most consistent. What he's done for that team is incredible. The Hornets are healthier. I think they're much hotter than the Heat, and I think the Hornets beat the Heat and send the Heat to the lottery, which leaves me with a Hornets versus Magic for the right to be the 8 seed after the Sixers claim the 7 seed. And I think I don't think the Hornets are quite ready to compete. The Magic have been in the playoffs, been in the play-in, and have been winning games in the playoffs, even if they're not winning series. And I think the Magic's defense gets them into the 8 seed where they will play the Pistons, meaning Pistons versus Magic is 1-8. Celtics versus Sixers is 2-7. And then the 4-5 and the 3-6 do not change. They are already set in stone. Cavaliers 4 against Raptors 5. Knicks 3 versus Hawks 6. I'm sad. We're used to seeing the Heat, the Hawks, and the Bulls in the play-in every single year, and only one of them are in the play-in this year. It's not the Miami, Atlanta, Chicago Invitational anymore. But all those teams moving in different directions, it seems. Over in the Western Conference, the 7-8 battle, the Suns and the Blazers. What a fun matchup. Blazers are just now healthy. Assuming Jeremy Grant returns to the lineup, they're all healthy. They haven't really been healthy all year. They don't have their head coach, although Thiago Splinter, the interim, has been there for a long time now. I still don't love his minutes. I watch all of these teams in the NBA, and the Blazers are frustrating to me because I feel like out of all, they have a coaching staff that I don't like the minutes distribution. There's a couple other teams, but I think with the right minutes distribution, this Blazers team could be elite. They remind me a little bit of the Thunder a couple years ago when they rebuilt. Anyway, the Suns team is also really good. Maybe not really good, but they're good, and they have kind of rebuilt their roster a little bit. They've shaken things up. Devin Booker's still the focal point, but they have, they don't have KD anymore, right? They don't have Bradley Beal. They really reshaped what their roster looks like, and I think that they're going to be better in the long term for it. So this is a really interesting 7-8 matchup, but I think a healthy Blazers team is going to be good enough. They have the guys that play defense. They have the guys that bring the ball up. They have their scores. Donovan Klingen's growth this year has been incredibly fun to watch. And I think the Blazers get it done, and they go on to play the Spurs in the 2-7 matchup. Then the Clippers and Warriors. Jimmy Butler isn't healthy. The Warriors have been dealing with so much health issues. The Clippers are hot. The Clippers started the season off awful. The famous Ty Lue quote about, we have to do this the rest of the way to make the play-in, make the playoffs. And the Clippers did that and more. They made the play-in. They're playing in both of these teams are older and aging, but the Clippers are healthier, and they've been playing a heck of a lot better as of late. And I think the Clippers beat the Warriors. And then I just think Kawhi Leonard isn't going to want to miss the playoffs. I think Kawhi Leonard shows up against the Suns in an absolutely electric game, a fun game, and I think the Clippers beat the Suns for the 8th seed. I think the Suns had a great regular season and consistent, but I think more consistent, but I think the Clippers and the Blazers and the way they currently stack up have a higher ceiling than the Suns, and I think both of those teams discover those ceilings in the play-in. Meaning, again, the 4-seed Lakers and 5-seed Rockets are locked in. That doesn't change. The 3-seed Nuggets versus the 6-seed Timberwolves, that's locked in, doesn't change. But the other matchups, it would Blazers against the Spurs in the 2-7 and Thunder against the Clippers in the 1-8. Again, I feel like it's disrespectful to the Suns. The 7-seed always makes it in the play-in, but eventually a 7-seed is going to miss. I think this Suns team was the most consistent, and I think that they have the highest floor on terms of where their level of play is, but I don't think their ceiling is as high as the other teams. It's crunch time now. I think the teams are going to play closer to their ceiling. And with what I predicted happening in the play-ins, this would be the lottery odds. Wizards, Pacers, and Nets, 3 Eastern Conference teams, all at 14% chance at landing the first pick. Jazz and Kings at 4th and 5th would be 11.5%. Grizzlies 6th at 9%. Pelicans and Mavericks 6.8 and 6.7 and 7 and 8. The Bulls at 4.5. The Bucks at 3. And then the 4 teams that lose in the play-in come in the play. Warriors would be 2%. Heat would be 1.5. Hornets would be 1. And the Suns would be 0.5%. Again, all of the new lottery, well, it's not brand new anymore, but it's still pretty new. The new lottery odds and the new lottery system in the NBA for a draft that looks like it could be the deepest draft in a long time. And prospect-wise, I think this draft has the ability to be one of those drafts that everybody looks back on and we're like, wow, that was an elite draft. Your 1984s, your 1996 your 2003, those level of drafts. I think this draft has a chance to do that, maybe even better. There's a clear top 4, but you're going to be able to find great talent, I think, all the way through the lottery. And so if you're going to not make the playoffs, I think this was a year to do it. And I think everybody is praying certain teams don't get top 5 or 6 picks because they've already been spoiled with talent. They don't need any more. I'm looking at you, Warriors, and maybe even the Bucks with Giannis. So that's what the lottery is going to look like under my prediction system. Again, the top 10 don't change. The play-in can only change 11 through 14. And now the predicted playoff bracket that I have. Here you go. East and Western Conference lined up. The higher seeded team that will have home court advantage to start is always going to be the team on top here. Well, at least in the first round. All right. Before I predict my bracket, my favorites, my sleepers, and my see you next year, I did this last year. I have my 5 favorites. I have my 5 sleepers that are maybe capable of making my run, and then I have the 6 teams that I think made the playoffs, but probably that I don't think can do anything. Maybe they win one round, but not anything after that. My see you next year teams, I really think the Clippers, they've been playing really good basketball, but they didn't play good enough basketball to avoid the Thunder. I think they could have upset some other teams in the Western Conference. I don't think they can upset the Thunder. So I put them in see you next year, but I have them being the best team there. The Raptors maybe win one round, but they're not championship threat. See you next year. 76ers, especially without Joel Embiid, aren't going anywhere. I'll see the 76ers next year, although I like what they are bringing back. Magic, same boat. Defense wins championships, but that's if you can score the ball. I don't think the Magic consistently can. They desperately need a shot creating guard, especially in the playoffs. I'll see the Magic next year. The Hawks got rid of Trae Young. I think that actually has helped their team. Yes, Trae Young's incredible on offense, but he's awful on defense. He's not in the lineup. I think he's kind of an empty calorie stats guy at the Wizards next season. But the Hawks have gotten better despite trading away their best player, despite their number 1 overall pick being not very good. Hawks have still found a way to be good and relevant, but this isn't the year, and I don't think they're that good. I really don't buy the Eastern Conference. It's really weak this year outside of 2 or 3 teams. And then the Blazers, they were my pick this year to surprise some people and make the play-in. They did. I like the Blazers, but I think next year is the year that they're going to be ready to make noise in the playoffs, not this year. We'll see the Blazers next year. My favorites to win the title, the Thunder obviously have to be the favorite to go back-to-back, had another really good season. They have such a deep team. They can beat you in so many different ways. They're good defensive on offense. They're good on defense. Thunder, obvious clear and away favorites. The Spurs, I'm putting it 2. The Western Conference, I think, has the 3 best teams in the NBA. The Spurs, they have the alien. They have a once-in-a-lifetime prospect in Victor Wembanyama. I like the pieces they've added around him. De'Aaron Fox, great player. And I even think some of their young shooting guards are going to be helpful as well. Some of their young guards in general are going to be helpful. You know that Victor Wembanyama is maybe the best defensive player in the NBA, definitely one of them. And I think the Spurs have figured it out this year and are one of the favorites to win the title. The Pistons, 60-win season. Those are not easy to come by. The Pistons, very good defensive team. Variety of ways to beat you on offense. They got the first taste of the playoffs last year. Now they're back and they're the 1 seed. And I think they have a chance to win the title, especially on the strength of their defense and versatility. Nuggets, they got Jokic, they got Murray. They have a good support system around them, and you know that the Nuggets are capable of winning. They've won a title recently. Yes, they have a different head coach, but I don't think it matters too much. They have, in my opinion, the best basketball player on earth. Nikola Jokic had what's probably the best season he's ever had. I think he should be the surefire MVP. Give me the Nuggets as the 4th biggest favorite to win the title. And then the Celtics, Jason Tatum is back. They've looked good with Tatum back. I'm a little bit worried about their paint presence. They don't have a dominant paint presence, and I think that's going to be something that they miss. But man, they have a lot of guards and wings. They have a lot of good shooting. They have a good offense. If they can make up for their deficits that they're going to have against some of the other contenders in the paint, I think the Celtics could also win the title. They got their star player back. And my sleepers, this might be disrespectful to the Knicks. I do like the Knicks. I love the way they built the team. It's deeper than it has been. It's versatile. They have a lot of talent. The Knicks are my number 1 sleeper. Listen, they're not one of my 5 favorites, so they can't go in the favorites, but they're my favorite sleeper team to make a run. The Rockets at 2. Rockets have one or two flaws, but they're really good outside of that. They have height that can match up with some of the other really good teams' height. They have shooting. If they can limit turnovers and their backcourt can do enough to support the front court, they still have Kevin Durant, who has been very good in the playoffs. Rockets, my second sleeper. Timberwolves have made the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years, and they can't get away from the Nuggets. They've beaten the Nuggets in the playoffs. They're playing the Nuggets again. Can Anthony Edwards have another classic playoff run? Do the Timberwolves have another gear they can shift it in? If they do, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Timberwolves making at least the Western Conference Finals. I really like the Cavaliers as well. This year they weren't quite as dominant as they were last year, but I still think the Cavaliers are capable of making a run. Give me the Cavaliers as my 4 sleeper team. And then the Lakers, I have 5th. They're going to have to play the Thunder in the second round, and that's even if they get by the Rockets. The reason why I have the asterisk there, they're hurt. They're 2 of the 3 best players are hurt, and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. And if they're not back, they stand no chance in the playoffs against the Rockets. Definitely no chance against the Thunder. But if the Lakers can get healthy, I think they have legitimate sleeper ability, and I think would move up higher on the sleeper list. But because of the unsureness about injuries, it's hard for me to put them much higher. There you go. There are my favorites, my sleepers, and my see you next year. Let me know who your favorite to win the title is, and let me know who your sleepers are in the comments below. And without further ado, here is my predicted playoff bracket. I know I always spoil it for everybody because I show you everything at once, but let's get into this. I'm going to start in the Eastern Conference. Pistons and Magic should be a good defensive series, but the Pistons have been way better. They're much more consistent, and I trust their offense to show up a lot more than the Magic's. Give me the Pistons to win in 5. Cavaliers, Raptors. The Raptors are still kind of a question mark to me in some ways. They're a fun team. But they don't have a lot of playoff experience. They have some guys that do, but as a team, they don't. And because of that, I'm going to pick the Cavaliers, who have been there and done this before. I think it's a 6 or 7 game series. I think the Raptors can give the Cavaliers a ride, and you're going to see some very versatile players in the series, and I love to see that. Some big forwards and wings that are able to ball handle and shoot and do a little bit of everything. But I think the Cavaliers find a way to win this in 6 or 7 games. It should be a good series. Maybe the best first round series in the Eastern Conference. I think the Knicks and Hawks have been a good story this year, finding a way to get the 6th seed. I don't think they're ready to compete with the Knicks, especially when the Knicks have home court advantage. Knicks fans are happy that they don't have to see Trae Young. I think the Knicks get this wrapped up in 5 or 6. And then Celtics 76ers. This is good for the Celtics because it means they might not have to see Joel Embiid if the 76ers are there. Like I said, I'm worried about the Celtics in the paint, but the Celtics have so many guys they can throw at you. Jason Tatum is only going to get better the farther away he gets from his return. Boston Celtics beat the 76ers in 5 games, move on to the second round. Cavaliers and Pistons. I think the Cavaliers have more playoff experience than the Pistons, but the Pistons are good. And I think this is a 7-game classic Midwest series between Cleveland and Detroit. And Detroit goes to their first Eastern Conference Finals in a while, using home court advantage in Game 7 to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they play the winner of the Knicks and the Celtics. And I think the Knicks are a little bit more well-rounded than the Celtics, but what the Celtics do well, they do really, really well. They want to prove to everybody that with Jason Tatum, they are one of the best teams in the league. And I think the Celtics do that and beat the Knicks in a 6-game, maybe 7-game series. I think the Celtics get by the Knicks. I think Karl-Anthony Towns might have a big series with the Celtics. Like I said, I'm very worried about they don't have a dominant center. They have Vucevic, but how much is that really going to help? I don't know. But I think the Celtics are better than the Knicks everywhere else. Give me the Celtics to beat the Knicks, where they face the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. I know I'm so chalky. I picked the number 1 and the number 2 overall seed. But I think the 2 seed wins. The Pistons, very good. I don't know if they're quite ready or if they're quite experienced enough in the playoffs to take the leap, especially over a Celtics team where so much of that core has made a finals run. They've won the NBA Finals. And I think that gives the Celtics a boost where they make it to another NBA Finals. And then over in the Western Conference, the Thunder and the Clippers, 1-8. I think that the Thunder are the favorites and they win. I think if the Clippers were facing many of the other teams, they would have a real upset chance. I think the Clippers are playing well. I think they find a way to win one game off the Thunder. Nice little gentleman sweep. Thunder win in 5. Rockets, Lakers. This series would be so much more fun if Luka was healthy. Luka lit up the Rockets this year. The Lakers played well against the Rockets this year, but I think the Lakers aren't going to be healthy enough, and I think the Rockets win this in 6 games. I don't think LeBron can do enough by himself anymore to get over the Rockets. Kevin Durant, first year with Houston, making it to the second round. Another Nuggets Timberwolves playoff series, 3-6. I feel like they're always playing each other in the playoffs. They can't get away from each other. The Timberwolves won it last year. They've won it previously. In fact, the Timberwolves have kind of been the Nuggets' kryptonite in the playoffs. No longer, I think the Nuggets get over that hump. I think this is the best team the Nuggets are bringing into the playoffs since they won the title, and I think the Nuggets get by the curse of the Timberwolves and advance to the second round in 6 games. Spurs and Blazers. Again, I love the potential that this Blazers team has, but I don't think they're ready to compete even with some of their veteran pieces. I think they get a game, maybe 2 from the Spurs. I think they put up a good fight, especially down low. I think Donovan Clingan is really, really good, and he is 7'2", Victor Wembanyama 7'4", but Clingan is a great rim protector. He's a great rebounder. He can shoot the 3 himself. And I think what the Blazers are going to do, or what a lot of teams are going to try and do against the Spurs, and I think they're going to try and beat up Victor Wembanyama. He's a great player, has all the potential and talent in the world, but he's still kind of skinny in my opinion, and I think the Blazers try and take advantage of that. Donovan Clingan a lot more solid than Wembanyama, and I think the Blazers are going to be able to take a game or 2, but the Spurs are going to eventually come through out on top, where they will play the Nuggets. And the Nuggets and Spurs is going to be an electric series. You're going to have Victor Wembanyama and Nikola Jokic, if not the two of the best centers. They have the best player of the world in this series. Jokic versus Wembanyama is going to be so interesting. And I think the Nuggets would win this game in 7. I think Jokic is ready to win another title, even though he always talks about his horses. I think Jokic wants one. I think that the Nuggets are just more experienced in this situation and are ready to go. And Jokic, the last time they played, seemed like he had the better of Wembanyama. And in 7 games, I think Wembanyama's good, but he's not the Joker yet. I think Nikola Jokic finds a way to outplay him. Yes, there's a lot of good guards involved in this series. Jamal Murray also has a clutch gene. I think the Nuggets get by the Spurs in 6 games. I should probably be respectful and say 7, but I think it could be 6. Thunder and Rockets. Rockets have played some great games with the Thunder, and I think that they can win a game or 2, but I don't think over the course of a 7-game series they can beat the Thunder. They're a very good team. They're going to be very hard to beat. The Thunder get by the Rockets in 6. Sets up Thunder versus Nuggets. Nuggets won another title. Thunder want to go back-to-back. 2 of the best teams in the league over the last couple of years, the most consistent teams. And I think the Thunder are the deepest team in the league. They have the most talent in the league. And I think because of that, Jokic puts up an all-time series. Thunder are very good defensively. They have some size to throw at Jokic, but I still think Jokic is going to be the best player in that series, have an incredible series. But the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, I think their backcourt goes off. And I think the depth of the Thunder gets by the Nuggets in 6 games. Thunder go to the NBA Finals where they face the Celtics, and the Celtics don't have enough down low to keep up with the Thunder. The Thunder can match the Celtics in guard play, maybe a little bit behind in wing play, but Celtics can't guard the Thunder down low. Thunder win the NBA title in 5 games. Go, and they become back-to-back champions for the first time since the Golden State Warriors. Let me know in the comment below what you guys think of my bracket, what you think of my play-in. Let me know if you think the Thunder go back-to-back. And if not, tell me who you think does win in the comments. That's all I have for you guys today. That is my NBA play-in and playoffs preview. Hope you guys enjoy. And if I'm wrong, again, I'm not afraid for you guys to yell at me if I'm going to be wrong. I doubt that I go 100%. It's very hard to. Nobody does. Um, but let me know your thoughts below. Please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe. Find a couch and watch some sports this weekend, guys. The NBA's playoffs are here. The NHL playoffs are here. The MLB season is in full swing. So find a couch, watch some sports. Take care of yourself. Take care of your families. It's a crazy world out there. Peace out.